here in the box. You want to just, especially on the lightweight, it should naturally come up to about a little over shoulder height maybe. The heavyweight will tend to be a little bit lower unless you're really ripping it up, you know, to get that thing started. It should be right in here. Then you'll know right away as you come around, you'll be at this nice, just right about this 45-degree angle for this tug of war here too. And also the concept, which is true for really every throw, is to create from above like an X position too. Meaning, even as I cast, I feel a stretch here. I'm letting my hips turn and my shoulders, but I'm letting this just stretch back. So some of you turning and ripping another. Let it just fall. Use your levers. Use that dynamic stretch tension that's built up in your muscles in every position, every throw. It should be that way. That's why when you see somebody do it right, it looks, any sport really, you say it looks effortless because everything's linked in properly. There's no wasted this linkage or leakage. It's linked together. So casting shoulder height and turn with it. You see, I'm almost pushing out. This is just kind of naturally what I'm doing. I'm working that foot. This is more advanced stuff, so some of you don't need to worry about this yet. Working that ground, pivoting around. Boom, and then when you go, you really go hard to do the turn. It's rotational here. The next part we're going to talk about is really all linear. You created that rotational energy, get a nice big, long, patient orbit coming into it. Drive. That X effect, like I was saying, get around, beat the weight around. Some of you are moving too quick. You can't outrun the weight completely, but you want to be here. Stretch. Mark was talking about the 9 o'clock position right here. This is the natural stretch. So when I was doing those which probably about the speed I go in my initial cast anyways, you want to go probably 50%, or I say just enough to feel that tension on there. If you can feel tension on the lightweight, that's a really good thing, especially if you're big and strong already too. And let that just naturally come out. You're sitting here, you're going to feel like you're sitting here for a long time, driving that weight down, but that's good, especially on the heavyweight, more this U-shape drive. But technically, part 2 here, we're going to go into more that sprint or the drive towards the front now. So that's assuming we've set this up. Another concept too, which we didn't touch on too much, was the low point. So that this should naturally set up if we're doing this properly. That low point, which is just the lowest point where the ball, the weight goes with your throw, or the low position which you're finishing from on any of your throws. So that low point should be set up here, where we're pivoting around. It's just going to sit nicely into that groove. So we can try that with the partner too. We're going to do this tug of war thing, especially with the light move. Split, minuscule part of a second, but you get that, you can start sprinting right away. Where the heavyweight, I like to let that carry, where I can't grip on that thing towards the front. And it is a drive. You're applying force this way to it. You're thinking about that. It's still going to look smooth. It's not going to be like it abruptly hits your hip, just boom, you just tear it off the ground or something. There's some drills to work on that. Actually, I'll get that on next too. We're going to work on that first. Catch to the drive, and our drill for this can be kind of tricky for beginners to do because it's hard to set up the low point. The low point's going to want to set up off of your hip behind you more. See a lot of people shooting video that I'll review, and they'll shoot it from straight behind, which is great. I can review it well. The low point is sitting up here, and that's just not going to carry over. It's just doing a faulty drill to reinforce bad position, or a drill that's not carrying into that linkage of the throw.
So the low point should be in line with your feet towards the front of the trig?
Yeah, basically you should be able to look at right behind you. But you can just tell too, and even where you end up, this is going to change usually where you end up in the trig. You'll blow past it, blow past your positions. But you want to be pretty much even a little bit closed off. You don't want to be here, and it's just about a shoulder width front squat position. Okay. But our drill, we're going to take do our normal cast, but what we really have to do is let that weight with this with the guys the other weekend too. You kind of do this motion to get this going too. What I like to do, I think this works better to set it up. But this is hard, just learning how to get this going around here. You see it kind of kinks a little bit for me even. I have to take that weight actively start driving it around to get that in the proper position. Again, this is probably more advanced stuff. Some of you may not want to get too into this today, but you can kind of do it from here, starting here to get more of that U in sprint. So
Sounds like you're loading it for the weight for height.
it looks more like a weight for height, and it tends, when you load it that way, it tends to go too high. The problem with, like I said, this one, here, it tends to be way off of your heel too soon. You're casting it, and you're gonna tend to kind of want to sprint, usually I think towards the right side of the trigger on the back. So I should just